In 1937, parents across America gave their children a medicine their own doctors had promised was safe. Within a week, the children were dying. And no one, not the doctors, not the pharmacists, not even the company that made it, understood why. It began with a single prescription, a safe medicine, a trusted medicine, sold legally in pharmacies across the country. 6 days later, the first patient was dead. Then another. Then a child. By the time it was over, more than 100 people were gone, and most of them were children. The medicine wasn't contaminated. It wasn't counterfeit. It was made exactly the way the company intended. So how did a legal, trusted medicine become one of the deadliest drugs in American history? To understand what killed them, you have to understand what nobody was allowed to ask. It started the same way every time. The patients, many of them children with ordinary sore throats, were given a new medicine to fight their infection. For the first day or two, some of them even felt better. Then the pain began. Stomach cramps, vomiting they couldn't stop. Then their kidneys began to shut down. They stopped passing water, their bodies filled with the poison they could no longer flush out. Convulsions came next, then coma. Doctors watched, helpless, as patients they had personally prescribed the medicine to slipped away over 5, 6, 7 days of agony. One physician, Dr. Calhoun, watched 6 of his own patients die, including close friends. He later wrote that the memory of watching them suffer, knowing he had handed them the bottle himself, felt like it would drive him insane. But here's what made this a nightmare instead of a tragedy. The doctors had done nothing wrong. They followed the instructions. They trusted the label. So if the doctors weren't to blame and the patients weren't to blame, then who was? The answer was hiding in a single ingredient, and it wasn't the medicine. The drug was called sulfanilamide, and in 1937, it was a miracle. It was one of the first antibiotics that actually worked, killing the infections that, until then, could turn a simple sore throat into a death sentence. In tablet and powder form, sulfanilamide had already saved thousands of lives. It was completely safe. There was just one problem. Children hated swallowing the pills. So a pharmaceutical company in Tennessee, the S.E. Massengill Company, decided to make a liquid version, something sweet, something a child would actually drink. Their chief chemist went looking for a way to dissolve the bitter powder into a syrup. He found a solvent that worked perfectly. It dissolved the drug beautifully. It even tasted sweet. They added raspberry flavoring, bottled it, and shipped it to pharmacies across 15 states. The medicine was safe. The company followed its own recipe exactly. So how could a correctly made medicine kill more than 100 people? Because the sweet solvent that chemist chose, the one meant to save children's lives, was slowly poisoning them. And to understand why, you need to know what that liquid actually was. The solvent was called diethylene glycol. Today, you probably already have it in your garage. It's called antifreeze, the same kind of liquid you pour into a car engine. It's sweet, it's clear, it mixes with almost anything, and it is lethal to the human body. Once swallowed, the body turns it into acids that attack the kidneys directly, shutting them down one by one. That's why every victim died the same slow way, poisoned not by their infection, but by the very syrup meant to cure it. The elixir wasn't medicine with a little something extra. It was roughly 70% antifreeze, flavored like raspberries and handed to sick children. Now, you might be thinking the obvious question. Surely someone tested it. Surely a company can't just pour antifreeze into a bottle, call it medicine, and sell it in a pharmacy. And here is the single most shocking fact in this entire story. In 1937, they could, completely legally. And that's the part that changed medicine forever. Here's what almost nobody realizes about medicine before 1938. A company did not have to prove a drug was safe before selling it. There was no requirement to test it, no requirement to try it on animals, no requirement to even glance at the existing science. And the science was already there. Years earlier, medical journals had reported that diethylene glycol was toxic, that it could destroy human kidneys. The chemist didn't have to run a single new experiment to find this out. He simply had to read what was already published. He never did, and the law never required him to. The company tested the elixir for one thing only: flavor. They checked that it tasted good. They never once checked that it was safe to swallow. When the deaths began, government inspectors raced across the country, trying to physically recover every bottle before more people drank it, chasing them from Virginia all the way to California. They managed to recover most of it, but more than 100 people were already dead. So the country was left with a question it could no longer avoid. How many more times would this happen before the law finally changed? The answer came the following year, and it's the reason your medicine is safe today. In 1938, in direct response to these deaths, the United States Congress passed the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. For the first time, a drug company had to prove a medicine was safe before it was ever allowed to be sold. It gave the Food and Drug Administration real power, not just to seize a dangerous drug after people had already died, but to stop it from ever reaching the shelf in the first place. And this is the part people always get wrong. The disaster didn't create the FDA. The agency already existed. What it created was the FDA's power to demand proof of safety before a single dose is ever sold. Almost every safety check standing between you and the medicines in your cabinet today, the testing, the approval process, the requirement that someone prove a drug won't hurt you, traces back to a bottle of raspberry-flavored antifreeze and the sudden people who died before anyone was required to ask a simple question: is this safe? The villain was never the medicine. The villain was the fact that nobody had to prove it was safe. That's what this channel is about. Every medicine has a story. Every prescription has a purpose. And some of them, like this one, changed the world by first taking lives. I'm a pharmacist, and these are the cases that made modern medicine what it is. This is educational storytelling, based on published history and the medical record. It is not medical advice. If you want to know the real stories behind the medicines you trust, subscribe to Pharma Archive, because the next one you won't believe was legal either.